And it's continuing to this day, and it continues to be one of the very significant ministries of Wellington Central Baptist Church. We were there to provoke that question. And can I take just another couple of minutes? There's a story I'd like to share. You know, so much. I think the ministry, the incarnational ministry of being there with our own families is so important as well. You know, we're called to be missionaries in our own families, to live incarnationally together. One of my sons went through a pretty difficult time as a teenager. He was passionate about his faith as a follower of Jesus. He was so intense about it that it actually worried Lorna and me at times. We were worried that he was going to burn out. And there came a time where, in fact, that did happen. And he became very cynical about Christians because his standards were way up there, and he felt that many of the rest of us just didn't measure up. And he gave up on God. And that was a pretty tough time because he also detached himself totally from our family. And he also, through that time, experienced some tough problems emotionally and became very, very depressed. And he went on a journey where he detached himself from the family, and we were very, very concerned about him. And at one stage, we wanted him to come home for his younger brother's 21st, and he said he would only come back if he could meet his father, me, in the presence of a counsellor to talk things through. He was very, very uncomfortable with me. I was head of the Baptist churches in New Zealand. He was very uncomfortable about that. He felt judged and rejected by us as a family. We didn't judge and reject him, but that was what he felt. He was living in Christchurch at that time, and we were living in Wellington. So I said, yeah, okay, if that's what he wants, I'll go down. So I went down and I met him, and I was very, very disturbed with the meeting at the time. And I tried to talk to him, and it was really difficult, and I went away. A month or so later, we got a call from the hospital in Whangarei, where he had been taken, having been found by the police in a very distressed state. At that time, he'd also changed his name. He didn't want to be known by the name Stuart Macann any longer. He'd changed his name, starting a new life. But we got this call from the hospital in Whangarei, and it was him. And he said, "Mum and Dad, I want to come home." And we couldn't believe it. We were so grateful. He was severely depressed. He came home. There was a lot of stuff that he had to work through. After he'd been home for a couple of months, he said to me, "Dad, I'm a Christian again." And I said to him, "Stu, what's been a part of that?" And he said, "I've just been so aware of Jesus' love for me." And as I thought about that, I thought of the love that different people had showed him through that tough time. Because, through that time, there were different Christians who he was still drawn to. One of them was Mick Duncan. We were talking about Mick Duncan before. And there were others. But also his brother and his two sisters, through a time of rejection, had showed him a lot of love. And I'd gone down to Christchurch to spend the time with him. Now, there was nothing flash about that. Anyone who's a parent here today would have done the same thing. But it it was moving, it was just moving to where he was, basically. And I believe that that's what we're all called to move to where the people are. And they may be people very close to us, they may be people that God is calling us into a relationship with, who need Jesus. That's our journey. So that ultimately they will ask the question, and the Spirit can work in their lives. And Jesus be a part of their experience in the way that he's part of our experience. May the Lord bless you in your ministry. Every single one of you. You're all gifted, and you're all called, and you've all got a unique experience that can be shared.